Hi, Cohort 2. So today I'm not in school, but I want us to begin reading the first scene of Act 2. So I would like you to please open up your scripts to page 19. That will bring us to the first scene of Act 2. So we left off with the Ghost of Christmas Present showing Scrooge the Cratchit home and how Mrs. Cratchit is not very fond of Scrooge. She considers him to be a stingy man who really has not done anything to help the Cratchits and their family. So Act 2 brings us to the Halliwell home. This is the home of Fred, Scrooge's nephew. And if you take a look, it says the curtains open to a small crowd at a party on Christmas Day. They sing a stanza of the song Good King Winkles, after which they dance. Afterward, all are holding drinks. Scrooge and the Spirit of Christmas Present enter to behold the scene. And in this scene, you have Fred and his wife Janet. I'm going to play you this scene, and we'll stop at certain times so that we can discuss what's going on. Okay?
And he said Christmas was a humbug. And he believed it too.
More shame for him, Fred.
He really is a comical old fellow. And not so pleasant as he might be, however, his offences do carry their own punishment, and I have nothing to say against him.
I'm sure he is very rich, Fred. At least, you always tell me so.
But his wealth is of no use to him. He doesn't do anything good with it. He doesn't make himself comfortable with it, and I sincerely doubt he will ever consider benefiting us with it.
So here in this conversation, you have Fred talking to his wife, Janet, about his Uncle Scrooge. And he makes notice that he really thinks Christmas is a humbug or is just nonsense. And although he is very rich, as Fred's wife, Janet, mentions, Fred realizes that it's of no use to him. He doesn't use it to make himself comfortable. And we saw in Act 1 how cold it is in Scrooge's room because he doesn't even like to spend money on coal. And he also doubts that Scrooge would ever use that money to benefit them. In other words, to help them out in any way that he can.
Well, I have no pity for him.
Oh, you see, I have. Who suffers from his ill whims? Himself, always. Here, he takes it into his head to dislike us, and he won't come and dine with us. What's the consequence? He loses some good pleasant moments which could do him no harm. I mean, to give him the same chance every year whether he likes it or not. I may have cracked the old boy yesterday, I do say so myself. He gives us plenty of merriment, I'm sure. And it would be ungrateful to drink to his health. So, here is to Uncle Scrooge.
Uncle Scrooge.
So Fred realizes that the only person that he does truly have to feel sorry for is his Uncle Scrooge, because he just had the opportunity to at least spend a good time with certain people, and he just chose not to. So although Scrooge has a lot of money and Fred doesn't, Fred's the one who feels bad for Scrooge. So the lights fade and the spot remains on Scrooge and the Spirit of Christmas Present.
I would normally take offence at such tasteless banter and laughter at my expense. However, in view of the general gaiety of the occasion, I am inclined to overlook it.
So that was Scrooge speaking to the Spirit of Christmas Present.
He was quite noble of you. Forgive me, Spirit, if I am not justified in asking, but I see something strange and not belonging to yourself protruding there from your skirts. Is it a foot or a claw?
That might be a claw. For all the flesh there is on it, look here.
So here, while Scrooge is overlooking this conversation between Fred and his wife, Janet, the Spirit of Christmas Present has two things that are kind of going out of his robe. Remember that the Spirit of Christmas Present has a green robe on, and Scrooge notices that there are two things that are coming out of it. So the Spirit of Christmas Present draws aside the folds of his robe to disclose want and ignorance. Two thin, dirty, wrenched, scowling waifs crouched and clutching at his feet. So notice here the word want is in caps, so is the word ignorance. Both of these things represent the people of England. So coming out of the robe of the Spirit of Christmas Present are the people that represent want and the people that represent ignorance. But they're twins, dirty. They're clutching at the feet of the spirit of Christmas present. And Scrooge is alarmed.
Spirit, are they yours?
No, they are yours. Do you not know them? This boy is ignorance. This girl is want. Beware them both, and all of their kind, but most of all, beware this boy, for on his brow I see written the word, doom. Unless the writing be erased, I dare ye to deny it. I dare ye to slander those who claim otherwise, and see where it leads.
Are they no refuge or resource?
Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?
Okay, so notice here that the spirit of Christmas present is telling Scrooge that he needs to be very careful, particularly with ignorance. Because written across the boy who represents ignorance, written across his forehead is the word doom. So if you remain ignorant of the want that people have, you are going to find your doom. And then he begins to mimic Scrooge. Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses? Both of these comments here are made by someone who is ignorant. And suddenly, we hear the chime that strikes 12, and remember that at 12:01, the spirit of Christmas yet to come, of the future, is supposed to arrive. So we're going to pick up on scene 2 on Thursday. Tomorrow, you're going to have a quiz for Act 1.